Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, I will walk you through how to create a GitHub account. Creating a GitHub account is fairly straightforward. If your repositories are public, then it is free. If your repositories are private, there is a charge for that. So you also need to have an email address because it will ask you for email address. And the website we are going to go to is called www.github.com. So I'm going to head over there and we can start creating the account. So I am on the GitHub website, which is github.com. So to sign up, you just click on the sign up tab there. And the first thing it's going to ask you to create your personal account. So if the repositories are free, then there is no charge. So you have to give yourself a username. So I'm just going to add a username. So when you create an account, it's going to look for 3 green ticks before it lets you progress. So you set a username, a unique one. It's got to be a name that no one on GitHub has already got. If it has, it will tell you. So this is your unique name, and you have to specify your email address, which also has to be unique within the GitHub system. And then you specify a password. Once you've done all that, you can scroll down and there's an option there to create an account. If all the ticks are not green, you won't be able to create the account. So click on create account and that should create account. And then it will tell you the name, tells you the name of your account and tells you you've taken the first step into a larger world. Tells you completed. Step 2 basically is for you to choose a plan. This is where it tells you unlimited public repositories are free. If your repositories are public, then you've got unlimited public ones. You don't have to pay. However, if the repositories are private, then this is what you pay monthly. All right. And you can do other stuff here if you wish, but that is basically it. So you can click continue if you wish. So if I click continue, and again, it gives you more options here. Step 2 tells you to choose a plan. And then there's some other questions you might want to answer if you wish to do so. How would you describe your level of programming? So I'll let you go through this step if you wish to, but for now, we have created a GitHub account. So that's it for this lecture. Thanks for watching and bye for now. Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, I'll be walking you through how to install Sublime Text. What is Sublime Text? Sublime Text is a plain text editor. It is described as sophisticated on its website. It's a very popular text editor and it is cross-platform. That means it will work across multiple platforms. It will work on a Windows machine. It will work on a Linux. It will work on a Mac. It is easily customizable as well. A text editor is basically what you use to write code. Just like you use a Microsoft Word to write text, programmers use what you call a plain text editor to write their code. And Sublime Text is one of such text editors. Sublime Text allows you to use it for free. You can download it and use it for a period of time, but you're also advised to purchase a license once you're comfortable using it. So it's not completely free, even though it lets you download and use, but it's advisable that you do pay for it once you've used it for a while and you're happy with it. I am on the website called sublimetext.com. This is website you need to go to download Sublime Text. So if I scroll down, you can read more about it, what it can do, and so on. So feel free to read through the text. I'm just going to click on this option to download because I'm on a Windows machine. If you are on a Mac or other platform, there's a link here that you can click. So the current version of Sublime Text is 3. So I'm going to click on this to download it for Windows. Click on the download button and the download has begun. It is 7.4 megabyte. So it's not a very large file. So let's install it. I'm just going to double click on the link here to install Sublime Text. I was a bit impatient there. It hadn't actually finished. Now it's finished downloading. So let me double click on the link and it should open up. I'm going to click run and I will click on yes to install. I'll just minimize this for a while and just concentrate on the installation screen. So I'll click next. I'm just going to accept all the default. I'll click next. I'll click, you can check this if you want to add to Explorer context menu. I'm going to click next to install. So the installation should be fairly quick. See, it's finished now. I just click finish. And if you go to your programs menu and go start, and you should see it launch. So this is the Sublime Text. This is what it looks like. When you launch it for the first time, it comes here. It has this text that says unregistered because you have not paid for your copy. So once you're happy and you like the product, it's advisable that you pay for it. And then you won't have this option that says unregistered each time you launch the application to use it. So that is it for this lecture on installing Sublime Text. Thanks for watching and bye for now. Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, I will be walking you through how to install Git on a Windows-based computer. Git can be installed on all types of operating system, for example, on different variants of Linux. If you're installing it on a Debian, the command you need to install Git is sudo apt-get install Git. If you are doing the Fedora version, you'll be sudo yum install Git. If you are installing Git on a Mac, you need to go to the address here, that's the website, and you pick out the Mac option. If you're doing it on a Windows, you do the same to the same location, and then you download the Windows version. SCM stands for Source Code Manager. So I'm going to head over to the website now and download Git. So I'm on the Git website for download, which is this. That's the link to the website. That's the address. So I'm on a Windows machine, so I'm going to click on this. If you are on a Mac, then you need to click on the Mac OS option. So I've got Windows here, so I'm just going to click to download for Windows, and my download should start. So that's my download there. Is automatically downloaded 64-bit. However, I am running a 32-bit because I'm on a Windows machine, Windows 7 that's got a 32-bit. So this option will not work for me. So what I need to do, I need to download where it says other Git for Windows. I need to download this bit here. So it tells you when this was released 15 days ago. So I'm going to click on 32-bit for Windows. How do you know if you've got a 32 or a 64-bit? The way you check is to go to right click on my computer and go properties, and it should tell you on that system type, it will tell you if you are on 32-bit or a 64-bit operating system. So that's where that phrase comes from. So I'm on the 32, so I'm going to hit this to download the 32-bit because the 64 will not work on my system. All right, the download is completed, so I'm just going to open this up. I'm going to click open, and it will take me here, I'm just going to click on run. To run, you may get user account access control. Click on yes to that. And we need to accept the license agreements. You can scroll down to read it if you wish to do so, and click next. Gives you a default location for the installation. So I'm going to accept the default location. I'll click next to that, and I'll accept. Git Bash is just a command line tool like your command prompt, but it's kind of like a Linux base. That's what Git Bash is. So I'm going to click next, and it's telling you to continue. I'm happy with that. I'll click next, and then here is giving you some options. Here it's giving you the default here, which is use Git from Windows command prompt. I don't want this option. What that means is that it combines Git and the Windows command prompt. It's got here use Git from Git Bash only. Git Bash is kind of like the Linux based version of the command prompt. It's telling you that this is the safest choice, as your path will not be modified at all. You only be able to use Git command line tools from Git Bash. I kind of like that one. This option here, if you chose this one, it tells you here use Git and optional. This gives you access to Git and gives you more option of the Unix tools from the Windows command prompt. It tells you both Git and the optional Unix tools will be installed on your path. It also warns you this will override Windows tools like find and sort only. Only use this if you understand the implications. I will recommend you go for the safest option, which is use Git Bash from Git Bash only. So it separates that from the normal command prompt. I'll click next to that. I'm going to accept the other defaults. I'll accept that. I'll accept that. Yep, I'll leave those options checked. That's it. And I'll click install and give it a few minutes to complete the installation. The installation is completed, so we could uncheck to view release notes. And if we want to launch, we can click on launch Git Bash. Click on that, and this is the actual Git Bash. So it's a command line, but kind of like a Linux based command line. So we could quickly type a command just to check that Git is installed. We could type in Git space -- version and press enter. It will tell us we've got Git version 2.13 blah blah blah. So excellent. So we have successfully installed Git. So that's it for this lecture on installing Git. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, I'm going to walk you through some basic Git configuration. There are 3 places that Git stores configuration information. And depending on how widely we want those configurations to apply, we can choose which option you want. The first and largest place is the system. So we've got the system level configuration. This is configuration that ought to apply to every user on the computer. So any changes you make towards the system configuration, we will apply on a system-based level. So regardless of who uses the computer, the configuration will apply. Obviously, these configurations will be default at the system level, but whoever logs on, if a new user logs on, it will impact their own configurations on the default. The next place where configuration information is stored is at the user level. So this is based on individual users. Now, the user-based configuration is the most useful place to store configuration because it's set at the user level, and the setting doesn't apply to anyone who logs on to the computer. It applies just to the single user. And the final place where configuration settings can be stored is at the project level. So if you are doing a project and you want these configurations to be unique, you can store the configurations on a project by project basis. So what that will happen that in a single project, we can have configurations that apply only to that project. The most common of this is the user configuration. This is where most configuration changes are done. Git has a special command that you can use to make configuration changes. So if you're making configuration changes on the system, the command you need to use is git config -- system. If you are making changes or configuration changes to the user, the command you need is git config -- global. Global indicates it's global to the user. It doesn't mean the entire system. If you're making configuration changes at the project level, all you need is just git and then config. So we're going to make changes to at the user configuration level. So to make changes, I'm going to open up Git Bash. I'm going to my program files and look for the Git folder. This is the Git folder, and I'll click on the Git Bash to launch Git Bash. So to make changes, what I need to do is type in git space config and then space -- global, which indicates I'm making changes to at the user level. So -- global and then space, and then I need to specify what changes I'm making. I'm making changes to the username. So I'll type in user dot name and then in quotes, in double quotes, I need to put my name in between the quotes. So I would type in blue lime space learning. In your case, you need to use your own name and then press enter. All right. So by doing this, Git then adds that to the configuration file. So let's make another configuration change. This time I'm going to add an email. So the process is the same. So type in git space config space -- global space user dot email and then in quotes I will place my email address in between the quotes. So once you've typed in your email address, press enter, and that will be added to the configuration files. If you want to see the configuration, the changes you've just made, you can type in git space config space -- list, and this should give you a list of the configuration. All right, so that should give you a list of your configuration settings. Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, I'm going to walk you through how you can retrieve specific information from the configuration files. Say, for example, I want to check the name in the configuration file. So the command I will use to do that will be git space config space user dot name. and then I press enter, and that will display the name entered or stored in the configuration file. If you wanted to check for the specific email in the configuration file of the user, you do the same thing. You type in git space config space user dot email, and then you press enter, and it will show you the email that they have stored in the configuration file of the user. You can also use a specific Unix command to get all the details of your configuration files. So the command you will use in Unix is called a cat command. So you type in cat space dot git for git, and then config. Any file with a dot beside it is a hidden file, so you would not see it. For example, if you go to the directory, you won't see it. Anything with dot on it is actually hidden. You can only see it from the command line console. So if I press enter, this will give me the same details. It gives me all the settings for the user configuration files. The minimum configuration you need to start working with Git is basically a name and an email address. As time goes on, you can add to the user configuration file.